take a look, folks. So clearly, you can make a lot of money. I mean, you can just go through this, the 2-year, and you can see some big moves, right? But you got to go in and out. You got to know when to do it. And the vast majority of people aren't going to know that. You're not going to know that. You're not going to know shit. You had people that are just now starting to realize, believe it or not, that China's not investable. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Mentally deficient people. It hasn't been investable for several years. And they're not going to know if and when it becomes investable and over what period of time. Is it even considered an investment? Maybe it's a trade, a speculative situation, right? The bottom line is this. You're not going to fucking know. You ain't going to know. Okay? I can guarantee you that right now. And nobody in the media is going to know. Guarantee you that right now. They ain't going to know. If they're going to know truly, they ain't going to tell you. Okay? So what's the point? The point is you don't play the guessing game. You don't speculate. You just buy and hold. You buy and hold the index, the main index from the country with the most dominant economic system, the most dominant capital markets, the most dominant innovation, the best education, the most dominant country in the world. That's America. It's obvious. That's what you do. You buy and hold it, add some to it every once in a while. You don't pay attention to the financial media, anything, and you go about your life. And you're going to end up with a lot more money than the same people who spent the same amount of money thinking they're going to beat the market. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Fact. Okay? It's fact. I mean, the fact that you have people still following these goddamn frauds on ScamTube tells you how utterly stupid the YouTube audience is. You're talking about disgustingly stupid. That's the YouTube audience. You people out there, you're the YouTube audience. You're disgustingly stupid. Disgusting. I mean, I'm talking to the point where you should be fucking sterilized to not destroy, the human population by breeding. And we're talking, 99% of the YouTube audience, maybe, higher. 99.9%. Very fucking stupid. Hey, I'm trying to help you. Let you know, just stay the fuck off ScamTube. Right? But you see, this is why you have an army of scammers, because there's so many stupid, lazy, greedy people, ignorant people who, and they still want to tell me that, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. That's how fucking stupid they are. And they believe that Tom Nash is an expert. Tom Nash is legit. Or Kevin Pathrath. Meet Kevin. He's legit. Right? You've got these stupid people out there. That's how dumb they are. Fucking idiots. Anyway. So what's up with China? China's in deep trouble, as I mentioned a long time ago. And I'm not going to get into the specifics, really, because I don't do shit for free. Not really valuable shit anyway. But I can tell you right now, the complexity and severity of China's problems, I would recommend people just stay the fuck out, because you're not going to know if and when there's going to be a period when things change. You're not going to know. At best case scenario, you might get lucky speculating, buying something like a lot of people They chased this run up in the market just on an announcement, and a lot of people got burned. You see, you don't go in and speculate into something where it's fundamentally broken. You see, that's the difference. You don't speculate in an investment where the underlying structure, the company or the country, is fundamentally broken. If you're going to speculate into something, you speculate into a situation where the company is not fundamentally broken, but they're having some issues. There's a big difference there. And this is addressing something like for instance, what I cover as well is the distressed securities market. Understanding when its company is distressed, the chances of it turning around. And the ability to spot that is key. You see, the question is a company merely experiencing some issues due to maybe a cyclical change, something in the economic cycle, or even a secular issue is still salvageable. But when you're talking about a breakdown in the fundamentals of a company, you're talking about a dire situation, which you should stay away from. A great example, which I identified a while back, a long time ago actually, is Intel. And it wasn't just Gelsinger, but because Intel's had a very long history of poor execution, which is why I never recommended it ever. But Gelsinger certainly, they forced him out. If they didn't force him out, Intel would have a good chance of eventual bankruptcy down the road if they didn't get rid of this fucking disaster. I can tell you that right now. He's destroyed the company. You've got a similar situation with Walgreens, which, not due to any one particular CEO, several, and overall the chairman, the largest shareholder who finagled his way into the fucking, he got Walgreens to buy Boots, overvalued as hell. They're in trouble. And if they don't turn things around, another company in trouble is Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is fortunate, though. They've got a lot of assets they can sell off. It's not a big deal for them at this point. But this Zasloff, he's a fucking disaster. So, these are companies that are definitely problematic, and they're fundamentally broken, you see, versus, let's say, a company like, company's having a problem, but I don't want to give it up. I don't want to give away anything. But there are companies that are facing some issues that aren't fundamentally broken, but people might think they're fundamentally broken, which is why the stock price is down. You see, because that's the key. Understanding when you're right over the consensus. That's not easy to do. Okay, it's not easy for anyone, especially, if you're an amateur, forget about it. It's not even easy for me to do. It's very difficult. That's the key, you see. And so that's why I say none of you guys are going to know any of this stuff. Yeah, sure, you can get lucky, but it's like going to the casino. The only way you're ever going to win gambling is if you go to the casino, you got a game plan, you got enough money for several games, 100 let's say, and you play consistently, and guess what? When you're up, that's when you leave. When you're winning, that's when you leave. You don't get greedy, and you never come back to the casino. If you come back, they're going to get you. That's the only way you're going to win at the casino. It's the same way for investing. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, you get lucky. You think that you know what you're doing. Guess what? You got lucky. And you're eventually going to get your ass handed to you. And you're going to realize, you know what? I didn't really know much. I got fucking lucky. It was a bull market. I got lucky. This is what happens. That's why it's about consistency. It's about consistency as an investor. It's about consistency as a company. consistent earnings. Earnings, what some people mention basically don't matter, like Tom Nash, right? Price to earnings ratio doesn't matter. It's just price to sales. These people are fucking frauds, man. I mean, how can you be... And you people out there to follow these idiots, these jugheads that don't know fucking shit. They don't know any more than you do. Okay? They just talk, they just blabber away. Blah, 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 blah. They know nothing more than you do. They're just con artists. Okay? But anyway, that's the deal, folks. That's the situation. Okay? I mean, take a look. Let's go back. FXI. Only way you're going to make money with FXI is in and out. In and out. Got it? Forecasting. You see, that's the only way. And this shows right here. International investing. Sucks. If you want international investing, you got it with the S&P 500. And that's really the main reason why I even cover the emerging markets like China, like India, like Brazil. Why? Because obviously those countries will influence, what's going on with their economies are going to influence what's going on with many of the large U.S. companies because they have significant business overseas, you see. So, let me just take a look at China. Here's their foreign direct investments fucking collapsed. Look at that. If your foreign direct investment has collapsed, you're in deep trouble, especially if you're an emerging country, especially if you're China. There's no other country in the world where foreign direct investment is essential than China. Take a look. Take a fucking look. There you go, folks. This tells the story right here. Okay? Currency reserves have basically collapsed over the past 10 years. And this is really, they got to have their currency reserves to prop up their fucking the renminbi is fucking like toilet paper. It's not worth anything. I can tell you that right now. I've been saying this for years. I've been saying this for many, many years. The Chinese currency is like toilet paper. It's worth fucking nothing. And when you hear these stupid idiots, and they're always from America, who trash the U.S. economy. Oh, America's going to collapse. It's so they have not been outside of America. They don't know how these countries are, these other countries. Hey, you idiots out there who believe the horse shit from the gold pumping mafia, who believe all this nonsense about America, okay, how terrible it is. Spend some fucking time overseas. Go to some other countries and see, and you'll come back and say, holy shit, America's amazing, okay? And so I think people are just now starting to realize what I've been saying for many years. The Chinese currency is worth nothing. Think about it. You're talking about just printing fucking money into that real estate bubble, right? That mirage of an economy. You see. GDP growth, and of course, let's see, this is from historical. Well, 65. Yeah, you can see the collapse in GDP. And, of course, even these numbers are not real. The Chinese officials lie. These are not real numbers. The GDP that they were reporting is complete fiction. That's been confirmed. So you can take a look and see. This is the U.S. from 61 to 2025. Take a look. This is China from 61 to 2025, okay? This is the U.S. from 61 to 2025. So take a look. Is there any difference? The only real difference is you've got some more volatility in the U.S., right? But where's the growth? In fact, if you take a look at the past 20 years, right? This is when China after they entered the World Trade Organization shortly thereafter. What's happened? Well, they peaked out, and then after that, what the hell's going on? They peaked out. See that? All the way down. How about the U.S.? It's fine. And then you got total factor productivity, basically. Productivity. I mean, you take a look at, well, China. Yeah, China's here. Yeah. Nothing. U.S., right? China's export trade. Let's see. Take a look at that export. Collapse. So, yeah, China's in deep trouble. You can't run an economy that is, let's say, compatible with the current system that we have in the globe, and that would be the Western system. China's economy is fairly closed. For all intents and purposes, it's really close. People think it's open. Well, the China trade, Well, but guess what? Their currency is tightly controlled, right? They control how much of the currency is exchanged. They control how much of the currency leaves the country, right? They have very strict capital controls, which is it's both a benefit and a problem. If you're going to play the game of trying to, be kind of a work within the capitalist framework, you can't have capital controls, right? On the other hand, without capital controls, your economy is vulnerable to a possible manipulation by speculators. That's why they control the capital. Many of these countries, the developing countries, they can control the capital. Easy to bring money in, very hard to take it out. I don't know why anybody truly felt that, China was not a communist country. People say it's fucking stupid. Do you understand what communism means? It means you can't own property. You know that? There's no ownership of property. All property, the means of production, is owned by the people collectively. That's communism. It's impossible to own property. So think about that for a second. What's the stock market? The stock market is public ownership of businesses, of companies. How is that possible in a communist country when the legal system does not allow ownership of property? Ask yourself that question. How come no one's ever brought that up? It's pretty fucking basic. It's not like it's rocket science, right? And you're not hearing that. Why? Because these days you don't have independent thinkers out there. You have followers, more and more so. More so today than before the internet. Everyone's a goddamn follower. Okay? But you can't have a real stock market under any type of system where there's capital controls, communist country. You can't have it. It's a fake stock market. In fact, you don't even need to have communism to have a fake stock market. I've mentioned before, many of these stock markets in the developing world are bogus as far as I'm concerned. They can, they can. It's just like when they call themselves democracy, right? Many of these countries, they call themselves democratic and they're democracy, and they're not fucking democracy. It's bullshit. It's complete horseshit. I mean, they can, and a great example, people are seeing now the current issue in South Korea. I talked about this not so long ago. I mentioned, towards the top in Asia, in terms of more advanced countries, you've got Japan and then South Korea, right? Because they followed the tutelage of the West. So they have aligned themselves more so with democratic principles, with capitalist principles, and they're much better in terms of corruption. They're much less corruption than they had in the past, but they're still fucking corrupt, especially South Korea. You see, but a lot of people don't realize that. South Korea, you just take a look and see. I mean, South Korea, not just South Korea, Japan as well. South Korea is run by, mafia families, Samsung, a few other companies, and Japan is not a whole lot different. It's just structured a little bit different. They have this, these countries, folks. It's a different system. You all don't understand the culture. If you don't understand what's going on, you're assuming things you all don't know. South Korea and Japan, in terms of their stock market, that's about as good as it gets in that part of the world. Okay, and there's many issues, especially in South Korea. I think the governance is pretty good in Japan, but I mean, hell, you've got the Bank of Japan buying up all the stock. It kind of makes you wonder what the hell, what you have there. But when you're talking about, East Asia, like China, or, Southeast Asia, right? These are not real stock markets. And, similar situation for other developed, I don't want to focus on Asia, other developing countries. You can look in Latin America. Even Brazil, large country. I mean, Brazil doesn't really have, I wouldn't consider it a real stock market, to be honest with you. Why? Well, because you have a lot of state ownership, similar to in China. You have a lot of state ownership of these companies. I talked about this actually 15 years ago. Okay? I came out with the research and discussed this stuff. Specifically, I discussed Chinese government ownership of majority of very important companies that seem to be very important for China's economy. Same thing with Brazil. I've even given examples in Brazil's case. So, I mean, that's the reality. We don't even need to dig deep. You're talking about international investments. I mean, we can go to the worst situations. We can talk about the screwed up countries that are, in some of these ETFs, international, like, let's say, Nigeria and Kenya. I mean, do you understand how these countries are led? Take a look and see the problems in these countries, okay? The corruption. I mean, hell, the corruption, Jesus Christ. Right? Not just there. I mean, Brazil, extremely corrupt country, right? So, in fact, even Europe, Europe is, compared to America, America is clean as a whistle in terms of corruption versus Europe. There's so much dirty money coming in and out of Europe. You see? So, dare I mention, as I've mentioned before, say Cambodia or the Philippines, or let's say Ukraine. International investing, well, if you're in an international ETF, you're stuck with Ukraine. Sorry, like it or not. You're stuck with Russia. Sorry, like it or not. You don't have a fucking choice. Okay? You got it? Only a fucking knucklehead would advise in terms of buy and hold international fund. Okay? And when someone's recommending international, it is buy and hold. Why? Because they know when you can make money in an international fund or a specific economy and when to stay out. Of course they don't. It's just fucking stupid. It's just common sense. I mean, you're dealing with the lowest of the low. Complete stupidity. So, China proves it, folks. Think about it. Let's go back once again. There you have it. During China's great miracle period, right? Take a look. Take a look. This is what you got. you got nothing. You got nothing. In 20 years, you got nothing invested. That's if you bought and hold. That's why, once again, if you're going to invest in China, if you're going to invest in Brazil, in India, some of these other emerging economies, you better know what the fuck is going on. And I can guarantee you, none of you people out there do, because it's hard enough for the top pros to know. Okay? And sometimes we get it wrong. So, make it easy on yourself. You can make it hard on yourself and, think that you know and this and that and you want to play around. Okay. Folks, if you want to play around with money, go down the street to a gas station and play a little slot machine. Okay? Make it easy on yourself. Just buy the index. It's that simple. Right? You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And most people don't know that. And it's understandable. Understandably so, they don't know it. It's not like, it's not because they're stupid. That has nothing to do with it. It's because it's extremely difficult and you got to know a lot. So, but this is what this is what the financial media exists for. The financial media, their sole purpose is to convince you that they can help you. They can give you an edge. It's a complete fucking lie and scam. You see, that's part of the scam out there. If anybody in the financial industry was going to be honest out there, they'd say, look, you know what? You're not going to beat the market. Buy the S&P and forget about it. Stay away from the media. And for all you people out there think, well, Warren Buffett, if Warren Buffett was truly honest, he'd come out and say that. He's never come out and said that. He kind of hints towards, people should just buy the S&P. Every once in a while, but he doesn't emphasize that. He should say, look, folks, just buy the S&P. Forget about all that. He doesn't want to. Why? Because he doesn't want to piss off the media. He won't get any accolades, right? These people are all frauds, man. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. No one's coming out and telling the truth. 95% of retail investors should just buy the index and forget about it. It's that simple. And nobody on YouTube saying that. Nobody. Because they all got their agenda. People that have channels that are monetizing on YouTube, that are using YouTube as a business, and that's just about every single person. The fact is that they're losers. No legitimate person with a legitimate business is on YouTube pitching their business. That's fact. Write it down. It's the losers, the failures that need the low-hanging fruit, that don't care that they're scamming people. That's who's on YouTube. Okay? That's fact. And you're listening to someone who's been monitoring, analyzing, watching, observing YouTube since 2006. That's me. I know what's going on. None of these fuckers are to be trusted. Nobody. But you see, all these people on YouTube, they think that they have the exception. Oh, no, well, this guy, no, well, you don't understand. Yeah, okay, I don't understand. No, you're just naive, man. You're just naive. The problem is that once you've been conned, it's almost impossible to know that you've been conned. Once you've been conned, it's over. There's a very slim chance that you're ever going to wake up. That's the problem. Great example, by the way, is these religious zealots. I mean, religion, it's in many ways it's a con. It's they're trying to lure people in, right? And you've got these religious people that and this is why you've got some of these investment guys. They throw religion into the scene. They throw it into the mix because they know they're going to get the religious zealots as their customers. You see. And that's a telltale sign right there. It's not even a red flag. It's a fucking definitive sign, a definitive indicator that they're a scammer. Anybody who mixes investments with religion. Fact, guaranteed. Write it down. No fucking exceptions. There you go, folks. You want international investing. You want to invest in China, buy and hold. You got nothing. You got fucking nothing. You see that? There you have it. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And you ain't going to know that If you think you are, you're a danger to yourself. It's best to avoid international. And once again, China's a good example because, right, we're seeing the implosion of the economy. There's many other examples you can use, and many of these emerging economies are going to have issues, no doubt about it, at some point. So if you're going to buy and hold, which all of you should do, none of you are in a position to not buy and hold, stick with the best. Like, why would you want to invest in some communist country versus America? Like, America is the only superpower in the world. Nobody can refute that. America leads the world in innovation. Nobody can refute that, right? America leads the world. It has the best education system. America's not perfect. It's got a lot of problems. But from an investment standpoint, from a standpoint of being a country where you can make a lot of money, America is certainly right up there, right at the top. The trade-off is that there's societal problems largely as a result of that. But when it comes to investments, you want to stick with the best. America's the best, no doubt about it. It is absolutely the best country to invest in the capital markets from a risk-adjusted standpoint. There's no comparison. It's that simple. You see. Tell you, if I was running the show, I'd go after the white-collar criminals. Boy, you better believe I'd go after them hard. I think white-collar crime, especially financial related, is right up there with murder. And in fact, in many cases, it's worse than murder because you're talking about mass murder. These people commit, essentially, the millions of lives they destroy. And for you losers out there with your fucking channels monetizing, get a fucking job. You should have stayed in school. You should have worked harder and went to a better school, gotten a better major, instead of being a fucking scammer on ScamTube. And you will face Judgment Day for scamming people. You will burn in hell for scamming people. You better believe it.